What's up guys, it's David, and today I'm reviewing the brand new album from Iglooghost called Neo Wax Bloom. Iglooghost is an electronic music producer who debuted back in 2015 with his project Chinese New Year. It was just an EP, only 4 tracks long, but with those 4 tracks, he instantly became one of the most exciting and one of my favorite producers working today. So I was dying to hear another project from this guy, especially an album. He released some songs here or there, but never a full project until now. When we got word that this album was coming out, it immediately became one of my most anticipated projects of the year. And now that I've heard it, holy shit, this album, it met every single one of my expectations and also blew past them by a million miles. This album it's mind-blowing. It's honestly incredible. Frankly, I don't even know how to start talking about this project. Honestly, I feel like to do this project justice, I would literally have to give like a 30-minute in-depth analysis dissecting every single tiny piece of instrumentation and composition in each one of these tracks, because the music on here, it's so dense, it's so rich. The sonic palette on this album is incredible. Just all these colorful, vibrant electronic noises mixed in, sometimes even with some natural sounding instruments. I mean, just experiencing this album feels like I'm playing Super Mario Galaxy, and you've taken all the colorful, zany, wacky levels in the game, combined them into one super level, then you times that by 10,000, and then put Mario on cocaine and shrooms at the same time. I mean, this thing, I frankly can't even describe to you how good it is. Like, this is something you need to hear for yourself. Like, I'll just say right off the bat, go listen to this thing, because nothing I can say can explain how good this is just as much as you can just go listen to the record and see for yourself. Because I promise you, even if maybe this isn't your thing, which, I mean, I don't know how that could be because this is just so amazing to me, but even if it's not your thing, you're at least going to respect how creative this thing is. Like, I can't even fathom the fact that this came from someone's mind. Like, Iglooghost, to me, he's a genius. Just, I don't even understand what's going on in his head for him to be able to create this. To me, this sounds like Iglooghost, he traveled to another dimension in the future, in another galaxy, and then took technology from there, brought it back to the present day, and created his album using that. Just all the different sounds and textures that he is bringing on here just feel so new. And not only that, but the composition of these songs. There are hardly any looped or repeated sections on any of these tracks. Each track is constantly morphing, transforming, progressing, and each track is such a high tempo too. It's all coming at you super, super fast. I mean, what a trip this album is, honestly. Like, if you're gonna listen to one album this year, make it this album. I don't even know if it's necessarily my favorite. It's at least top 2 right now, but I mean, if you're gonna experience one album this year, make it this album. This is something that I hadn't heard ever. I mean, this is one of the most, mind-blowing first listens to an album I've had in years. The fact that he's able to take all these different components, all these off-the-wall sounds, like there's so many layers on each one of these tracks that the layers of instrumentation are so rich, and to mix them all together so that each element, none of them get lost in the mix. They all play their part, they all work with each other in a way where they work and build off each other to just create this mind-melting music. And once again, the fact that these songs have such high tempos, the fact that there's so much rhythmically complex stuff going on here, it's like, the fact that he orchestrated all this to work out to such perfection is honestly, it's something that you have to experience. Even though I know I could never do this album full justice just in terms of explaining it and dissecting it, I was going to come in here and try to attempt to break down each song a little bit, but you know what? I can't even do that, honestly. This is, once again, I've said it a bunch of times, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but once again, you need to hear it for yourself. But a few things on some of these tracks that did stick out that were highlights, I'll mention some of those here. There's the saxophone that first emerges on the end of Pale Eyes, but then it goes nuts all throughout Super Ink Burst, which is the following track. This track in particular is super cool because you get this natural sounding instrument paired with all these wonky noises, and it works wonders. Both of these worlds collide to create this bizarrely awesome soundscape. There's more of this that goes on throughout the record. On the song Bug Eyes, you get this lush sounding guitar that comes in at the end of the track, and on Purity Shards, Zen Champ, and Infinity Mint, there are these xylophone, vibraphone-like sounding instruments that play out really well. Also on Infinity Mint, there's this icy, creamy sounding piano that makes me feel like someone took mint chocolate chip ice cream and then made it music. I don't know what I just said. That makes no sense, but shut up. Around 50 seconds into the song Bug Thief, there are these warped drilling noises that I love, and I mean, they're only in the track for about 5 seconds, and that's the only time you're hearing this on the album, but that's just how insane this album is. This album, to me, is just a gift that keeps on giving, because these songs are so dense, there's so much musical goodness all throughout this thing, that every time you listen to it, you're just absorbing more and more awesomeness, and like, this is just one little bite-sized thing that it's only about 5 seconds of a 40-minute record, but it just sticks out to me that much. I mean, God, I love this album so much. For an awesome example of just how rich and colorful the sonic palette of this album is, just go listen to the first minute of the song Solar Blade. Just listen to how many kooky, off-the-wall sounds are being thrown at you and so quickly, and there's this really cool effect he does on here where all these different sounds, they kind of take turns carrying the lead melody of this song. There's a bunch of songs on this record, like White Gum, where he samples these rap vocals and he chipmunks them up, he pitches them up, and he like speeds them up to match the tempo of the song. And it's really effective because like you can't really make out what the words are, you can't really make out what the rappers are saying on here. But what it does do is it kind of just adds another element to the instrumentation, you know? You don't take it as someone rapping, you take it as just another component, another level of this production. Teal Yomi Olivine is a 2-part track, and the second half of this song, Olivine, it's the only moment on this record that I'm not completely in love with. It's still good, but Mr. Yodi, who is featured on here, I mean, I just don't feel like he adds very much with his presence on here. And he's an artist, like, I was a fan of his feature on Iglooghost's last project. I've liked some of his own solo work, like especially his EP, The Terrible Tales of Scurvy Jones. But for some reason on this song, he just feels a little dull and a bit tedious because his verse is quite lengthy, and while the instrumental, it's still really good, it probably is the least memorable moment on the entire record. But look, that's just one decent spot in a whole sea of amazingness. I could rave about this record all day. I could continue giving horrible metaphors and similes and comparisons to what this album sounds like, but nothing I say is going to be good enough. Once again, listen to this album. Do it right now. This thing is so good. If you want to hear some of the most imaginative, off-the-wall, creative, boundary-pushing music of the last few years, definitely give this thing a listen. This album's sonic palette is so vibrant, so colorful, and when I say colorful, I'm talking colors that we haven't even experienced yet, colors that don't even exist. All these dense layers of mind-bending sounds are mixed together absolutely perfectly, and I just want to stress the fact that there are hardly any looped or repeated elements in any of these instrumentals. It's constantly changing, and it just makes it so exciting. Like I said, it's a gift that keeps on giving. So I give this an easy 4.75 out of 5. This album was literally one half song away from being pretty much perfection to me. I mean, one of the best records of the year, hands down. Go listen to it, or else I'll do nothing, but I really want people to hear this. I really want this guy to get as much exposure as he possibly can. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. Tell me about how much awesomeness this album is down in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.